What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of For the Love of Wrestling. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams. Happy Thursday. Good to see you guys tuning in today. Got a lot to discuss about AEW Dynamite. Want to take this opportunity once again, as I've been doing all week, apologize to the AEW fans that tuned in last week to try to see me do my review. I was under the weather, still got a light cough, a little bit of congestion, but I'm feeling 100 times better than I was last week when I canceled all my shows due to being sick. It was everything that I could do last week to get the kids to school and get the kids home from school. All that in between time when I usually would be doing this or working, I was sleeping. And I don't usually sleep during the day, so that tells you how under the weather I was. But in any event, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about all elite wrestling. And last night gave us a couple of special matches in Dealer's Choices where both Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page got to pick their opponent for the other person. But before we get into any of that, the show kicked off with Jon Moxley versus Jeff Hardy. And this was an intense match between the two former world champions. Of course, Jeff Hardy was champion in TNA as well as WWE. Moxley's been world champion in WWE as well as here at AEW. Hardy was proving that he deserves to be shown on the flagship show Dynamite more often than he gets highlighted. But at the end of the day, Super Mox did his thing and got the victory. You know, I understand that Jon Moxley is a guy that they kind of helped build this company on the back of. But he's not John Cena. He's not that guy that you're going to trot out there for make-a-wishes and public appearances and talk shows. I'm not saying Jeff Hardy's that guy either, especially with his track record of drugs and DUIs and whatnot. But Jon Moxley's not that dude. He shouldn't be freaking Super Cena. He shouldn't be Super Mox. After the match, Hardy was offered a handshake by Mox, but instead he disrespected Mox. And honestly, good on Hardy for doing it. Hardy needs to do something to become more aggressive, to get highlighted more. Maybe a heel turn is just what the doctor ordered. After that disrespect, a CMLL contingent that was in the front row that they showed a couple times during the match hopped the barricade and started to attack Mox. This brought out Cool Hand Angelo Parker, Daddy Magic Matt Menard, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, and Matt Sydal, who fought them all off. And they'll be having a match against those guys on Rampage this week. So we're going to be looking forward to seeing that. After that, we had Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland's handpicked opponent for the Hangman, Toa Liona. This was an insane match. Again, Swerve picked Page's opponent here as part of their long-standing feud going all the way back to Wrestle Dream. Page tried to hit the Deadeye, but was unsuccessful. Toa Liona ducks the buckshot lariat and scoops him up for a Samoan drop, but Page is able to turn it into a pinfall, gets the win. Not surprising here. You pretty much figured that whoever Page went against and whoever Swerve went against would lose. with Paige and Swerve getting their victories over the course of the evening, which did happen. However, Swerve's opponent was a little bit of a higher caliber of opponent, and we'll get there when we get there. After that match, we had the Young Bucks arrive at the venue, and the attendant outside gets fined $500 for calling them Matt and Nick instead of calling them Matthew and Nicholas. Honestly, they're lucky they get acknowledged by me at all. I we all know how I feel about the Young Bucks. Moving right along. The next match was essentially a squash match, as it was Wardlow versus Commander. And this was just playtime for Wardlow. He took his time, systematically breaking Commander down. As expected, Wardlow gets the victory, but it looks like he might have messed up his knee during the match. Post-match, he's limping. You can even see him verbally shout, "Fuck." Like he's done messed himself up, and now you've already got Hangman Adam Page from the Undisputed Kingdom in a wheelchair. Now Wardlow has jacked his knee up. That just leaves Roddy and the Kingdom to try to make things go forward. Hopefully this isn't too serious of an injury for Wardlow, and with just some heavy taping or a brace, he can still be around and still impose his will in squash matches. But if not, this could legitimately kill the Undisputed Kingdom before they really get a shot to get rolling. After the match, the Undisputed Kingdom get Commander and Alex Abrahantes back into the ring, and they proceed to attack, prompting Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Rocky Romero to come out and make the save. We then go backstage and we have a segment, a sit-down interview, no physicality. Ricky Starks and Big Bill, the AEW Tag Team Champions, talking with Steen and Darby Allin, Tony Schiavone in the middle moderating. This was a fun promo because, Steen talks about respect and how he fought Ricky Starks in his first match at Revolution 2021. And the Ricky he fought then isn't the Ricky he sees in front of him today. And there's this underlying tension that's laid throughout the promo, that even though they talk about respect, you can see how very little they have for each other. And we find out that next week on Dynamite is going to be a tag team title match between Starks and Big Bill taking on Steen and Darby Allin. And we're going to be making this a watch along across the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media for next week's Dynamite, mainly because with it being a tag title match, with Steen and Darby being undefeated, we feel that there's a 99.9% chance Steen and Darby are going to win the titles. This is going to end up being Steen's only run with gold in AEW. And then, of course, come Revolution, when they take on the Young Bucks, they're going to end up dropping the titles to them, much to Darren G's chagrin. They are going to end up winning them just to lose them to the Bucks, bro. There's no point in having Steen retire undefeated in AEW. As iconic as Steen is at 60-something years old, whatever he is, that's not believable. It's already not believable that he's undefeated in tag team action. But he's going to go out putting over the Young Bucks, losing the titles to them. At the end of the day, they were supposed to be champs anyways, when you really think about it. They won that match to get a title shot anytime, anywhere. Then, because of all the drama going on backstage, they lost that shot to Jericho and Omega. Omega then got sidelined with the diverticulitis. So, how do we get the belts back to the Bucks? This right here. I know. I don't like saying it any more than you like hearing it, bro. I can't stand the Young Bucks. But they are EVPs in the company. They are booking themselves to retire Steen so they can have that on the resume for the rest of their lives. I don't buy the fact that Steve Borden, Steen, handpicked them for this match. I think they booked themselves in this match so that they can say for the rest of their lives that they retired Steen. It is what it is, and it's all that it is, bro. We just have to accept that fact. But next week's Dynamite will be a watch along across the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse Media. We're just waiting for the official graphic to get made from Jeff so we can start plugging it on our shows and on our socials. So make sure you guys tune in to Dynamite and our watch along coverage next week. Tony is announcing TD Garden event after Revolution, possibly Double or Nothing. Then Mercedes Moné debut as the Joker. Then Okada come out. Do you have a press release about any of this? Are you the right hand of Tony Khan? How do we know all this information? I call bullshit. Thank you, though. After that match, we had Chris Jericho taking on Kyle Fletcher. And this was a hard-fought match as part of the ongoing feud between Jericho and the Callis family. Jericho got the victory, which then brought out Konosuke Takeshita to taunt Jericho, and the two will have a match next week. So not only are we going to get this tag title match, but we're going to get Jericho versus Takeshita next week as well. So that should be good. We then had a backstage promo video package, if you will, of Deonna Purrazzo discussing the importance of her tattoos and specifically a duck that she has on her ankle that she got with Toni Storm. They have matching tattoos from their time together, roommating, coming up in the business, and just trying to bring the storyline a little bit more together as far as the Purrazzo Toni Storm story, which I'm sure we're going to get that match at Revolution as well. We just haven't made it official yet. We then had the Bang Bang Scissor Gang make their debut with an in-ring promo and some shenanigans. First, they brought out Card Blade, and one of the Guns pointed out that they fired him a while back, so they got the juice board out, and you had Billy Gunn and the acclaimed Platinum Max, Anthony Bowens. You had Switchblade, Jay White, Austin and Colton Gunn, a cardboard cutout of Juice Robinson on the ring. One of the Guns, I think it was Austin, started to do the whole, we got 2 words for you. And Billy's like, I'm literally right here. So Billy does the whole, we got 2 words for you. And the crowd, of course, chants, suck it back at him. And he's like, no. This is a new era. The two words are guns up. So I really enjoyed this segment. I thought that it was fun. I like the chemistry between Bullet Club Gold and the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Bang Bang Scissor Gang is going to be something fun to watch in the next few weeks. Hopefully they don't break them up by Revolution and they let them go to at least Double or Nothing or All In, All Out. But yeah, this should be some good TV here. We then had Deonna Purrazzo taking on Taya Valkyrie. The Virtuosa versus La Guerra Loca. This was a fantastic match between the two. This is a prime example of what women's wrestling is supposed to be. Virtuosa gets the win via submission. Kind of a modified Venus de Milo. She had her arms gripped, but then was like sitting on her as well instead of the typical way she does it. Not sure if this is a new submission to Deonna's arsenal or not. We'll have to see if she talks about it next week or on Collision. We then had Renee backstage, Renee Paquette, talking to Darby Allin, and the Young Bucks did what they always do, came into the interview and stole the spotlight. This is what, Darren, going back to the whole hoping they're not winning them just to lose them to the Bucks, this is what makes me think that this is going to happen. I would almost bet you that the Bucks will help Steen and Darby win the titles just so that they can take the belts off of them at Revolution. Because we all know the Young Bucks only think about themselves. They don't care about anybody else. They've proven it the entire time in AEW. The Young Bucks could give fuck all about anybody else on that roster, with the exception of maybe Kenny Omega, whose nutsack they swing from. They could give a fuck all about anybody else. So they will do whatever it takes so that they can get over. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I hate to admit it, bro, because again, I hate the Bucks as much as you do. Main event was Swerve Strickland taking on Adam Page's handpicked opponent for him, Rob Van Dam. And before the match starts, Adam Page pops up on the big screen and kind of pokes fun at Swerve for not reading the contract, because not only were they able to pick their opponent, but they were able to pick what type of match it is. So Adam Page announces that this match is going to be a hardcore match. Of course, RVD being an ECW Extreme original, RVD chucks a chair right at Swerve to start the match, and it is on. Very fast-paced in the beginning. RVD getting all his big moves in, his stuff, getting his spots in. RVD just dominates Swerve for pretty much the entire first half of the match until we go to commercial. When we come back from commercial, Swerve kind of switches it up, takes control of the match. And even though RVD is able to put Swerve through a table, Swerve is able to get the victory via the Swerve Stomp after RVD misses a 5-star frog splash. A fantastic match here, but again, you knew Swerve was going to win his match. You knew Page was going to win his match. Very predictable, which kind of makes the matches not that much fun, in my opinion. I hate predictability. And some people can sit here and say, well, all the matches in wrestling are predictable. I disagree. There were a lot of matches here tonight that were predictable, but then there were a few that weren't. You know, Jericho and Kyle Fletcher really could go on either way, because I wasn't sure at first if it was a title match or not. I didn't remember if they announced it. Once Jericho won, I realized it was non-title. But if it had been a title match, then you would figure Kyle Fletcher would have retained. Likewise, Mox and Hardy. Hardy should have won that match, but he didn't. After the Swerve RVD match, Swerve comes out, or excuse me, Hangman Adam Page comes out, gets all up in his face, punks Swerve out to the point where next week we are getting the third match in this series, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page, and the winner gets Joe at Revolution. Again, we're doing a watch along next week for Dynamite, so this will be part of it as well. So we got a tag title match next week. We've got Sting, we've got Swerve versus Hangman. We've got an announcement from Tony Khan. So, should be a very good show next week that we will be covering here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, the Jeff Meacham Network, Simple Man's Brand, J. Hebert Studios, Greg Cherry Brand. Not sure if we'll be putting it on the Rangers of Wrestling Twitch just yet. Need to talk to Datilla, our affiliate, see if she wants us to put that out there or not. But at least those 5 main channels, Greg Cherry Brand, Casa, Jeff Meacham Network, Simple Man Brand, J. Hebert Studios, will all be carrying the watch-along of AEW Dynamite next week. What did you guys think of this week's episode? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. I'm going to take a quick intermission and run our updated watch-along trailer. This does not have the graphic in it for next week because I'm waiting for Jeff to make that. We only discussed this last night. But it's got everything else we're going to be covering from Vengeance Day this weekend all the way through Bash in Berlin. We'll be right back after this.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
That's right. The next watch along that'll be carried across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media will be WWE NXT Vengeance Day, My NXT. That'll be Sunday, February 4th, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Before that, of course, on Friday, we will have Simply Predicting for Vengeance Day. That is February 2nd, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, as the Simple Man Noah Foster hosts myself and the rest of his panel. I believe Chris Rotz will be there. Not sure who else will be. But we'll all be giving our thoughts about this Sunday's Vengeance Day PLE. Later on today, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, Jeff Meacham will be back across the multiverse with Meach's Musings. Never really know what Jeff's going to be talking about there. Whatever he's been mulling over in his head that he wants to get out to the world will be discussed. And then something very special that I'd like to announce. February 11th, Sunday, Statboy Sports Bar will be presenting its very first watch-along event as Statboy covers the Super Bowl live in real time, beginning at 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. Not sure who Statboy is going to be having on the air with him. Possibly Zach from the Sports Bar, possibly Matty Laws from Raw Ball Podcast and the Greg Cherry Show. I know Statboy has been doing some work with Matty these last few weeks as part of the Raw Ball team to get ready for the Super Bowl. But Statboy will be doing his very first ever watch-along event of the Super Bowl. And that'll be presented on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as over on the Jeff Meacham Network. We are so proud of Statboy for that. So make sure you guys tune in and check that out. Of course, tomorrow I will be back covering TNA Impact. Same bat time, same bat channel. Very much looking forward to seeing what TNA has to offer, as I missed last week due to my illness. And until then, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys later.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate you.